Good morning, everyone, and thank you to Sabrina and Anna Louise for having us today here. And I'm really very happy. I've been attending so many meetings, and they are usually dominated by women. And I see so many men today. It's good to see men on the board and not to be the only man in the village in this case. So thank you for this diversity of this meeting. And yeah, you might be surprised that a man is chairing a Women's Rights and Gender Equality Committee. It's not often the case, of course. We as men, we are very greedy on possessing so many functions where there is power and money. Maybe this is why I chair this committee, because there is very little power and very little money in this committee, but there is a lot of energy and a lot of courage. And this is what we as men, we don't value that much, unfortunately, in these times. And yes, I'm chairing Women's Rights and Gender Equality because I have an honor to be elected by women, because we believe in European Parliament and in this committee that men should be on the board. That we will not solve all these issues targeting girls and women without men on the board. That's why I value very much this conference where we will discuss the role of men and boys in combating violence against women. It was said by Sabrina, I've joined a lot of debates during my career, and it's very rare. I must say, really very rare that I am being invited to conferences or discussions where we discuss this role of male members of this society. I find it very disappointing. I find it also as a big mistake, because we as men, and we know it, and we need to still admit it, we still hold the power, and we still hold the power in different institutions. We hold the power in politics. We hold the power in Microsoft, even though Nan Louise is playing a crucial role in this institution. There are still men also in big tech companies having a lot of power. And it's all about power. It's all, you know it, you are better specialists, you are much more equipped than me in this knowledge on that, but they are power asymmetries. And these power asymmetries create a situation where there are decision-making bodies like committees in European Parliament that might be, for example, in my committee, FEMM committee, there are very little men. Very little men. But I'm also in two other committees, in AFET committee dealing with foreign affairs, and with budget committee dealing with money, of course. And guess who dominates those committees? Of course, men. Because men, they know how to deal with guns, they know how to deal with money, they know how to deal with budget, they know how to deal with foreign affairs, security. This is what we deal. We deal with serious manners in this Foreign Affairs Committee and Budget Committee. And there are men who are, of course, dominating tremendously in these committees. And when you come to FEMM committee, you will see some men, including Marco Zullo, whose assistant advisor will be speaking after me, where we are trying also to be on the board. And this should be, of course, changed. That's why I was very happy to accept this invitation. Also because still we need men on the board to make decisions. And we made a lot of decisions during this term in European Parliament. It was mentioned by Sabrina recently. I was chairing the negotiations on that file. We finalized negotiations of first ever legislation in European Union to protect against gender-based violence and domestic violence. We so far we did not have any legislation, pan-European legislation, to protect women and girls against violence and domestic violence on the European Union level. Of course, we accessed the Istanbul Convention recently, as you know, as well. The accession to Istanbul Convention was a big step forward, but still there are 6 member states who did not access the Istanbul Convention. We still have a case, of course, with that, but with these 2 instruments, the Istanbul Convention and the Directive against Gender-Based Violence and Domestic Violence, we are also opening the new charter on combating not only violence offline, but also online, the topic you will be discussing. There are real instruments now which will be complementary to member states' codes, which will well, help us to fight against this terrible phenomenon, which we are unfortunately, I have a feeling, normalizing, which is violence. Violence targeting too often girls and women. Also boys and men, as we know. But as it was said, 1 in 3 in European Union girls and women experience sexual or physical violence. So this is the reality. And we will not be strong enough only with these tools. With legislation, we are progressing not only with these files, but on the national member states and so on. We need also big tech on the board. And I'm very happy that, again, my colleague from Microsoft, Nana Louise, has mentioned the role of big tech, of these big social media companies which hold the power. They do hold the power. Very often, Microsoft probably has bigger budget than many countries in the world. They can really decide about so many things. And it should not be only to their will to do something or not. I'm sorry I'm saying it in Microsoft premises. We should find a way also how to, not only through legislation, but other tools, encourage them to step in even stronger. Because if you open any social media account, and I did this test, you will hear today one of the TikTokers today, which I admire. He has over 100 million followers on his TikTok. Congratulations. And when I read the comments sometimes, it's scary, and no wonder why so many women are stepping away from politics, from public life. It's hard to handle. It's hard to handle. And that's why we need big tech, big companies like TikTok, like Instagram, like Facebook, to understand there is real issue, and it's not only up to your will or not will to do it. It's our human obligation to protect everyone, everyone. And we should find the ways. I believe education is the key. I believe there should be an issue discussed around education. Why? Because probably you have the same experience as I have. When I was going to school, and nothing much changed from this time, I was taught many different things. I was taught complicated mathematical equation, the structure of the protozoan, whatever you can imagine in physics, in chemistry, but nothing, almost nothing. I was taught how to deal with violence, sexual harassment. There was no internet at this time, but I follow what's going on in member states. In many member states, you have nothing in the school curriculum dealing with online violence, targeting many often also boys and men. And this creates the situations which we will be discussing today. If you have nothing in education, if they force you to learn only these complicated mathematical equations, which you will, at the end of the day, maybe use once in your life or twice, and how often do you deal with violence online? if you are, if you have social media, you deal with it every day, almost every day. So these people should be equipped with that. And we as a committee, for our next year's priority, and I can announce it here, the education of boys and men will be one of our priorities as a committee. We've done a lot of legislation. We have a lot of tools. We have great partners like Microsoft, like big techs and companies dealing with social media. Now we need also boys and men on the board. We need them to also take leadership. That's why I'm very happy to be a part of this discussion today. Thank you very much once again for having me. I'm really looking forward for the outcome of this excellent project and results. Congratulations for that, an excellent idea. When I meet Commissioner Helena Dalli, responsible for equality, who is co-founding as European Commission this project, I will tell her a lot about this meeting, and I will also transfer my remarks to that, which will be, I'm sure, excellent because the outcome might be very helpful. So once again, thank you very much for having me. Congratulations to you, and have a great discussion. And please take a lot of boys and men on board to discuss. Thank you very much.